Hey, Wembong World Entertainment, and this will be review for episode 7 of Daredevil Born Again. And again, we have a wasted episode where nothing really happens, except one thing does happen, and it was actually good. And it's good for one particular reason, which we will get to. So this, of course, is the follow-up from what happened with Muse. Now, here is my biggest issue so far with this overall show, but particularly this episode, is the passage of time. We really have no indication of the passage of time. So we end last week's episode with Daredevil saving the girl who's gonna obviously become White Tiger from Muse, and Muse escaping, and of course Fisk beating the ever-loving bejesus out of Adam. We go to this episode. We're not actually sure how much time has passed from the end of the last episode to now, because the girl who's going to be, or should become White Tiger, is in hospital. She's talking with Matt. The cops are now investigating Muse's lair, which is on track 61, if I recall. And Fisk is being told, hey, look, it looks like Daredevil was there. But just the way the whole episode then gets structured after that opening is like, wait, are we a couple of days later? Are we a week later? How long have we actually moved from the previous episode? And they really aren't telling us that. So overall, this story in this episode is Matt struggling to contain Daredevil and wanting to find Muse again. Fisk is just doing everything to try and basically hide the fact that Daredevil is back and wants the cops very much to take credit for everything. And Heather having a session with her, what you think is a new client in terms of how this session goes. Now, this is also where my argument for passage of time comes from. So, if you remember, because I can't actually remember which episode it is, where she's doing like a book signing, and the guy comes up to her and says, Dr. What she called, Griffin or something, or Glenn, sorry, and says, I think I need help. And she's like, oh, my office is open, whatever, you can come see me. Well, it turns out that he is Muse. That this guy called Bastion is actually Muse. He's having a session with her, but the way the whole session is structured, it seems like it's meant to be their first session together, and yet the way he starts talking and kind of revealing that he's Muse to her, it sounds like, hang on, they've had more than one session. And this is my argument with this passage of time, or lack thereof, is, wait, is this meant to be their first session? Or is it they're like their 5th, 6th, maybe even 10th session together? It's weird the way they've structured that. But he basically says to her that she really much allowed him to fully embrace the persona of Muse, and he's done the best work he's ever done since he's been seeing her, which again leads to this is more than their first session together. Now, this is what leads to the one properly good scene in this episode, which is, of course, Muse puts on the suit, takes Heather hostage, starts slicing her arm open and all the rest, and looks like he's ready to kill her because the cops find where he is, because they realize or find out, hey, he's got images, like paintings of her in his lair, which Daredevil also, by the way, found, which I'll swing back to because I have an issue with that scene. And the cops are arriving, he's like, no, not yet, and he puts out this tarp and he's obviously going to take Karen, but Daredevil comes in. This is where the one good moment of this episode happens. We get a fight between Muse and Daredevil that isn't CGI'd or sped up. We actually just have two guys in their suits beating the shit out of each other. And I was like, oh, so you could actually do this without using CGI or speeding it up. And look how better it looks for it. You can feel the hits when they happen. You can feel the weight of the situation because they're not these rubber people going all over the place. That was the one good moment. However, they also destroyed that one moment, and I suppose this will be a bit of a spoiler, but yeah, they just straight up kill Muse. And I do mean kill, not like, oh, they wounded him, they turned away, he turned back, and he was gone. No, he's dead. Yeah, Heather shoots him like 7 times, and he's dead. You know, when the cops are looking at the room later on, he's still lying there dead, and they even confirm, oh yeah, Muse is dead. Which makes no sense, being the fact that we've been told by the showrunners that Muse is going to be one of the biggest threats to Daredevil in season 2 of Born Again. Which is also leading me to believe now, because they've mentioned Skrulls in this show, with the guy who stole from the convenience store, and he was like, hey, could I put it in the Skrull? Are they now hinting that either this version of Muse is actually a Skrull, and that Muse, the actual Muse, isn't dead? Is that also what they're going to do with Foggy? Is the Foggy who died actually a Skrull who died? Now, I'm pretty sure when the Skrulls die, they revert back to their normal form, but they either forgot that or they're just leaving that out. But either way, I think they're going to use Skrulls to kind of hint at how this happens. Now, the part that did annoy me is when the cops are in the track 61 and they're in Muse's lair and they're seeing all these things. They all kind of walk out and Daredevil drops down. He's kind of analysing all the paintings that Muse has. By the way, how the cops find that Muse has to be this guy, Bastion, is they found a piece of canvas that there's only 2 shops in New York that sell it. Only 11 people have bought it. 12 people have bought it. And the cops have interviewed 11. The only one they can't get in contact with is Bastion. So that's where they figure out he's Muse. But Daredevil, Matt Murdock, is standing there in the lair. He's running his hands over the paintings and he realizes it's Heather. And the corrupt cop, no, they're all corrupt, but the guy who was on the train platform, whose name I believe is Powell, walks in and goes, hey you, and Daredevil just throws his stick and knocks him out. He hits him in the head. My issue with that scene is immediately I went, whoa. Somebody was able to just walk up on Daredevil? What the hell? Like, how did he not know that he was there? Regardless of him checking this painting, realize it's Heather, he still should not have been snuck up on like that. The fact that this cop just walks into the room, looks at him, goes like, hey you! It's like, why? There's also another moment in this that really does stick out like a sore thumb, and it involves Vanessa. That Vanessa is down at, like, I don't know where she is, some abandoned building or something. And the guy Luca comes to see her. She wanted to meet him. And he basically is saying, you know, why is Fisk wanting to be mayor? We're running out of money. Business was better when you were in charge. And maybe it's time for change. So they're really cementing that Vanessa was much better at being head of the table, basically, than Kingpin. But it does seem like she sets him up. You're not really sure whether she sets him up or whether she was actually trying to take Kingpin out, because she sends a message to Luke at the end of the episode saying he's at whatever street and he's alone. And Luca walks into the restaurant. Yes, he's in a restaurant because, yes, this episode also ends with him eating. We have not had an episode yet of Daredevil Born Again with Fisk not eating. But as he walks in, he pulls out his gun. He's about to shoot Fisk in the back of the head. And from over in the dark, you just see 2 flashes. And the British guy that works for Fisk took Luca out. And he's like, thank you, fucking whatever his name is. And he's like, would you mind phoning Vanessa and ask her, does she want me to bring her home some crap? So that's the moment of, wait, did she set this up with Fisk himself, like with Wilson, to take Luke out because he's causing problems? Or did she actually send him there to take him out thinking he would be on his own? Which doesn't make sense. Surely she knows he's wouldn't be on his own, but either way. And as soon as you see Luca walking in, you're like, yeah, he's someone's gonna pop him, that there's somebody else here. And sure enough there was. And we also get one moment with the BB report. We don't actually see one of those stupid BB report things, but it's her going to Fisk's office to meet, I can never think of his bloody name. The character's Blake, that's his name, Blake. And he basically threatens her, like, flat out tells her, like, you screwed me over with that whole garbage leak thing and stuff, and you're basically gonna have to make a choice, you know, do you want a good life or do you want a shitty life, and stuff like that. So he wants her to make sure that she puts out the message that the cops, the task force, took Muse down, not Daredevil. So that's basically the whole episode. Again, very slow, very much nothing happened, and it's still one of the worst things the showrunners for this did was turn around, or the writer, producer, whoever it was, that turned around and said, like, oh, the thing with the Netflix version compared to ours, it was very nasal gazing. It was just people sitting around talking. That's all this is people sitting around talking. There's one moment as well with Matt Murdock and Cherry, where Duffy wants to speak with Matt, and he's like, give me 2 minutes, and he's trying to find out from Cherry, hey, find where Muse is for me. And Cherry wants nothing to do with it. He's like, no, you know, if you want to go crazy, you can go crazy, but I'm not helping you. He doesn't want them to be Daredevil, and he fires one back at him and says, you know, there was a time that Muse would come to me for the help, and blah blah blah. Duffy now is kind of asking questions, and she's just annoying as piss as well. So overall though, another boring ass episode that just wasted Muse. Like, literally, it's like, oh, we get to watch him as the normal guy do a therapy session, to then put the suit on, to have a brief fight, to be killed. It's like, okay then. So there's only 2 episodes left, and don't forget, Bullseye is still meant to show back up in this, but I think they forgot, because there's been absolutely no signs of him whatsoever since the first episode. So we'll wait and see what the hell the last 2 episodes have. That's right, there's only 2 episodes left in this, and nothing has happened. It's weird. So anyway, with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.